special dream, dear.
Welcome everyone to our show today. Excited to be here with a new guest. I always try to bring new and interesting people to my theme shows. I've been doing these since 1999. This is the Schenectady Access Cable Council, SAC TV, and today's show is on our Schenectady County Historical Society. And I have next to me Mike Maloney, who is the librarian and the archivist over there. And welcome.
Thank you for having me on. This is great.
Yeah, we got together about a week ago, little more to go over the content for today, and we realized we had enough to fill an hour show. So stay tuned, everyone, and you're either watching it on Channel 16. You can also see it on Verizon, I guess, if you have FiOS. I think that's Channel 38, but certainly on YouTube at sac.tv 24/7. This goes all over the world. We have the latest in technology, and we're going to give you some great information today. So you've been with the Society for like a year approximately, right?
Almost
Mike?
exactly. I think last week was my 1-year anniversary there. And it's been a great time so far. I really like working there, and it's really fun getting to do what you love.
Yeah. Now you were employed in Albany prior to coming over there, right?
I was, right, yes. I was at the Albany County Hall of Records before this.
So what's so special about being at the Historical Society?
Well, first of all, Schenectady has an extremely rich history, over 3 centuries of history there at the Society that we can physically touch. We have documents that are date back to 1670, and artifacts that are extremely old as well.
You have numerous files. I couldn't believe how many file cabinets you have there.
Yes.
And it covers all the municipalities in Schenectady County.
Right, it does. Yes, we have information on all the towns and villages around, Rotterdam, Glenville, Scotia, Princetown, Niskayuna,
Delancey, Duanesburg.
Exactly.
Yes. Did we leave anything out?
I don't think so.
I hope not. And that's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you're adding to it all the time.
Yes, we do take donations, and we get regular donations from members of the community. One of our latest donations was very interesting. It was a collection of postcards that a local man had collected. His name was Wayne Tucker, and he had postcards from all of the towns and villages that we just mentioned, as well as Schenectady, and it's a very interesting collection, very, very fun to look at, and we're actually going to display some of them at the Maybe Farm Historic Site for our migration celebration soon.
Oh, is that going to be this year?
That's going to be on May 1st, Sunday, May 1st.
May 1st. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll have a lot of dates on the screen.
Yes.
For our viewers. There's a lot coming up.
Yes.
And when did you get this collection?
That was in November of last year,
oh.
I believe.
Now, he was a Schenectady native?
Yes, I believe he was Schenectady, and he lived in Glenville also.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. So people probably don't think about donating some of their important documents or historical memorabilia to you.
Yes, yeah.
So they really need to know that you're available, and all they have to do is make a phone call, right?
Right, give me a phone call. And
what is that phone number? We'll give it early on, and then we'll give it later.
It's 374-0263.
Okay. And of course you have a website.
Yes, our website is really the place to go for any information about the Historical Society, and that's SchenectadyHistorical.org.
Mm-hmm.
And that has staff contacts, all of our events that are going on, information about our exhibits, information about the library collections, just a whole bunch of information that you should probably go see yourself instead of having me tell everyone about it.
Yeah, well, that'll be on screen as well. The building, I found, I knew before we met a little bit about the history of the society, and I think you should tell the audience how it started, and it goes back quite a few years.
It does. So our location at 32 Washington is also known as the Dora Jackson House. So the house was built for Dora Jackson by her son. His name was Jones Mumford Jackson. Dora led a pretty tragic life. By the age of 22, both of her parents had died, and her husband had died. So she was a widow from about, I think it was around 1853 till her death in 1895. And she did have the support of the community around her, though. There were a lot of the families on Washington Ave were the Jones family, the Mumford family, and the Bowers family. So she had that support network to kind of help her out.
Yeah.
After that, and so after she only was able to live in the house for about 4 years.
Oh, okay.
Because she died in 1895. After that, General Electric acquired the property. And it became the clubhouse for the GE Women's Club.
Yeah, and what dates are we talking about approximately for that?
I believe that was around her death in 1895.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Or shortly after, I believe.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And even prior to her, though, people were meeting in homes prior to that?
Oh, with the Historical Society?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So the Historical Society was founded in 1905.
Yeah.
And they didn't have a physical concrete physical location until 1958.
Oh.
So they were meeting in Historical Society members' houses. They had I think they had some exhibits up at the public library and in various other buildings around Schenectady until they acquired that property from GE.
But that particular house was lived in by Dora Jackson.
It was, yes.
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 And not that she was born there, but
no, but I think even before the house was built, in 1895, it was lived, or there was the property there was owned by by her family and by her husband. Yeah.
Oh, okay, so she was married. I wasn't sure if she was single or
married.
She
was married up until age 22 when her husband died.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's quite an interesting history. Now you have a fairly large board.
Yes, yeah, we have a board of 24 people.
Yeah, when you told me that, I said, how do they get anything done? What are the advantages to having a board that size?
Well, we get lots of different ideas from different people, and our board is great, and they're very supportive of our activities and any ideas that we have. They've been great at supporting us.
That's good. Not a lot of controversy going on with the board members.
No.
Yeah, that's doesn't always happen.
Right.
So you're fortunate.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Well, there's probably not a lot to argue about either. I don't know. Yeah, and then you have some paid employees there too, which you are one, of course.
Yes, I am one of 6 paid employees.
Uh-huh.
So I guess I should explain kind of more about the Historical Society and what we do. So
definitely. I'm
the librarian and archivist, so I deal with the documentary history of Schenectady County. So that's all the paper, the books, the diaries of people that lived here, correspondence, all of that is kept in our library and archives. And we also have a lot of genealogical material,
yes,
quite a bit.
I had no idea that you do research over there for people's genealogy, and that someone could pay $5 and come in and peruse all that information.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's such a gift.
It is. Yes, we have our our family files, which is they're organized by surname, by last name, and those just have a wealth of information in them, obituaries, family trees, and all sorts of information like that. But we also have church records, cemetery records, city directories, and we also have some more general information about the city, and the more, I guess, historic, local history type stuff.
Yeah.
So we have books, published books that people have written, as well as compiled information that people have gathered over the years.
Yeah. Well, and there's so much history, and now there's so much going forward.
Yes.
That's just going to add to the archives,
Yes,
isn't
yeah,
it?
definitely. Yeah.
My goodness, it's hard to keep up with the changes taking place. It's really exciting.
It is, yeah, definitely.
Really exciting.
So there's so much going on in Schenectady now too that we are just we're very excited to be to promote the history. And
Definitely. And there. I just read in today's paper a couple of things that one we'll talk a little later, but they're changing the 890 pass there by Erie Boulevard,
right.
and eliminating a loop that's been really hazardous for drivers. So, that's right near us.
Yeah, definitely, and that's
a big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That affects me on my drive home. So.
Right, because you have to go to Albany, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, maybe we can entice you to move here because you're closer to your work.
Yeah.
I'm sure you've been thinking about that.
Definitely, yes.
Yeah.
So besides the library and archives, though, we have our the Schenectady History Museum. So that's right in the Dora Jackson House. So before the library was built in 1991, the 32 Washington, the Dora Jackson House, housed both the library and archives and the museum. So everything that's in the library now was kind of crammed into the house. So we definitely needed the library
So
to
that
grow in
whole
size.
spot there isn't just wasn't just a residence, or it's expanded.
It was just a residence, but after we acquired it, so from about 1958 to 1991, when the library was built, the house was the location of the museum and the library.
Okay, so they added on to it.
They added on to it, yep.
Okay, I didn't realize that took place, and that was around the year 1991?
1991, yes.
Oh, okay. Because they needed all that extra room, I'm sure.
Yeah, the museum was expanding and the library and archives were expanding.
Yeah.
So we definitely needed some extra room to house all that material.
Yeah.
So now the museum has a few different exhibit areas in the house. So right now the current exhibit is called Vote Here, Vote Now.
Oh, okay, well that's appropriate, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
You have an old, really archaic-looking voting machine there.
We do, yes. That was, I think that's from the early 1900s, and it's a very nice piece of machinery.
Yeah, solid steel.
Yes, very heavy too.
Yeah, because I guess you helped move that,
yes.
right? Yeah.
So the Vote Here, Vote Now exhibit is it's trying to get people to be actively interested in both the history of Schenectady's politics and the current voting environment.
Yeah.
And we're holding lectures, and we're going to have programs throughout the year to kind of promote Schenectady's voting and political history.
Now, how are you advertising that?
So that we advertise it through a few different ways. We have our newsletter, which members are able to get, and that's also on our website. We have social media. We use Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram to promote the exhibit and all of our events, really.
Yeah. Now, do you have a media person that sends all that out?
That's generally the staff. The staff. We take care of the Facebook page and the social media, and the staff and some of our committees take care of the newsletter. Mm-hmm. And we also post flyers up throughout the city.
Yeah. Now, can anyone get a newsletter, or do they have to be a member in order to get
Well,
that?
You have to be a member to get a physical newsletter.
Yeah.
But you can access it on our website.
Okay,
at any time.
and I know it'll be on screen, but say the website again.
Okay, yeah. Our website is schenectadyhistorical.org.
Great. Well, a lot of people probably didn't know they could get access to your newsletter.
Yeah. In addition to that, I also run we call it the Grems Doolittle Library blog, 'cause that's what the library is called, the Grems Doolittle Library. So I run that, and I post stories of local interest and stuff that I find in our collections that has an interesting story. So I might make a blog post about, the collection. For instance, that Wayne Tucker postcard collection.
Yes.
The postcards are very beautiful. They're colorized views of Schenectady.
Yes.
So I was able to scan a few of those and just give a little background to the postcards. And it's very interesting, and I love doing research like that and trying to get it out there for people.
Yeah. Now, if somebody wants to see that collection, is it best that they just come over and look at it? For those that maybe aren't real computer savvy, for instance,
Right.
That they could just come over.
Yeah, they can come
and
over
view it any time between your hours 9 to 5,
Yes.
Monday through Friday.
Yes.
Wow. But they could also see it online.
Parts of it online. We don't have the whole thing online because the process for scanning and digitizing, it's very time consuming. And we're working on getting some of our collections online. And we actually, we're part of the Capital District Library Council.
Okay.
And they run the New York Heritage Digital Collection site. So what that does is it collects digital scans from various libraries and archives in the area. And you can view a lot of that on their website.
Yeah.
So we've scanned, we have 2 collections up there right now. We have one that deals with sports and recreation in Schenectady, and we also have part of the Wayne Tucker postcard collection up there. So we have about 60 images in the Wayne Tucker postcard collection, and I think about 60 in sports and recreation, maybe a little bit more. And so if you go to that site, you can view pictures of the Schenectady Blue Jays, they were Schenectady's baseball team during the 1940s and 50s.
Yes.
As well as the Mohawk Color Giants of Schenectady, who were a Negro League team in the area, and they had 2 runs in 1913 and 1915.
Okay.
And they disbanded, and then they reorganized in 1929 and ran until about 1942 or so.
Okay. Now you're involved with doing a project on that, correct?
Oh, well, yes. WMHT just produced a documentary on the Mohawk Giants and the Negro Leagues in the area. And they interviewed me and a baseball historian named Frank Keats, who actually donated the baseball collection to us. So it's called the Frank Keats Professional Baseball Collection, and that's in our collection. So he's extremely knowledgeable about the Giants, and he's kind of the go-to person about anything dealing with baseball in the area. And he's written a few books about the subject also.
Now, does he live here currently?
Yes, he does. He lives in the area.
Yeah, somebody might want to contact him too.
Yeah, he's a very interesting guy.
And that's Keats?
Keats, Keetz.
Oh, Keetz. Well, that's different.
Yeah. So they interviewed both of us, and they also they talked to the president of the Negro League Baseball Museum. It's just a very interesting documentary. It was great to be a part of it, and it's great for WMHT and stations like SACC to promote local history and be a part of the process.
Yeah. Now, has that documentary been shown in its entirety on PBS?
Yes, it premiered on, I think it was last Monday the 11th, I believe. But they've shown it a few times over.
Okay.
They were showing it before the Jackie Robinson documentary that Ken Burns just produced.
Yeah, I watched that.
Yeah. So it was showing right before that.
Okay. Well, they often show them again.
Yes.
So I'll have to keep my eyes open for that.
Yeah, definitely.
But Now, is that collection that you're just talking about, is that online too?
Parts of it are.
Parts of it. So the best thing is to really come over and
Yes, really.
and it's usually not terribly busy there unless there's an
Depends.
event going on.
Yeah,
right.
there are some days that do get a little busy.
Yeah.
But generally, we have staff and volunteers to help out. We have a great group of volunteers that help out tremendously, both in the museum, the library, and at the Mabee Farm.
Yeah, we have a nice little gift house there, gift shop there.
Yes, yeah, we're actually
with a lot of Larry Hart's
Yes.
memorabilia that the old Dorp
Right.
series that he used to do.
Yeah, we have that.
Everybody loved that.
Right, we have that collected in the library also. I think we have every one of his articles in there, as well as his books
So people can purchase them as a gift.
Yes, the
I
books.
purchased some things in there because I had a cousin that I became newly acquainted with due to my cousin's genealogy research, and he's from Sweden, and he came here, and I wanted to give him some
great.
Schenectady memorabilia, so
Yeah.
I bought some things from the gift shop, which he really loved.
Oh,
so
that's great,
People
yeah.
can go in there and they can get little note cards and
Yeah,
just
exactly.
specific to Schenectady, and,
Right.
and they're very affordable
Yeah,
as well.
and we are working on kind of renovating the gift shop a little bit too. So there should be some new items in there soon. We're hoping.
Yeah, that's really nice. I wanted to mention that you expanded your archives recently because of Phyllis Budka.
Oh, right.
Her full name is Phyllis Zich Budka, and she realized that there weren't any archives on the Polish immigration to
Yes,
Schenectady,
yes.
and she started a project, and she and I got together and we did a Polish history show here
Great, yes.
a couple of years ago now, and then after that I think she got connected to you, and now there is Polish history over at
Right. Yes,
there.
we keep.
We had a lot of Italian, but you didn't have the Polish. And
Yes.
she was dismayed about that,
Yeah.
and
So yeah, she's
that's just wonderful.
She's been great in helping us learn more about the Polish heritage. Yeah, and her project, I believe, is called the Project to Find Eastern European Roots
yes,
newsletter.
yes,
That is, it's been great, and it really brought the Poles to the forefront and in Schenectady's history. And
Yeah.
one of our current exhibits also deals with immigration in Schenectady.
yeah,
So we have, in the museum, we have the main exhibit area,
yeah,
which is where the Vote Here, Vote Now exhibit is.
yeah,
But down the hallway and to the right is our exhibit on immigration in Schenectady. And there we
Yeah.
talk about how the various immigrant groups of Schenectady contributed to our history.
yes. And if people wanted to know more about that particular show that was put together by Phyllis and some of her people and myself, it is on sac.tv, and anyone can go to the site, and it is one of my shows that I did a couple of years ago, and that's sac.tv, SACC.tv, and it was pretty long. They can see it in 2 segments. I think it ended up being a 2-hour show, and was my longest show.
Oh,
and I do theme shows,
great.
and today we're doing the Schenectady Historical
Yes.
Society, and yeah, so that's wonderful. All that I wanted to talk about a couple of things. You wanted to talk about the founder of Schenectady
Oh yeah.
and the information that you have over there on Arndt van Curler.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, Arndt van Curler was he's known as Schenectady's founder, but he was a very interesting guy besides just being the Schenectady's founder.
And how do you know he's so interesting? Because you did a lot of research on him?
Did some research, yeah.
Uh-huh.
So he was Yeah, he was kind of a frontiersman. So he was born in Holland, in Nijkerk, and he was related to Kilian van Rensselaer, who was the patroon of Rensselaerswyck. And so he had sort of a connection. He was a little bit connected to Kilian. And he sailed to New Netherland in 1637 at the age of 17. So he left his family in Holland to go to this kind of a frontier. It was the new frontier for the Netherlands in Rensselaerswyck and in Fort Orange.
Yes.
Which would become Albany.
Right.
So shortly after he arrived here, Kilian van Rensselaer made him the assistant commissary. So what Van Curler was doing was going around and making business relationships, forming trade routes with the various peoples of the area. So he believed that good relationships among the various ethnic groups of Schenectady was the basis for having a strong community in the area.
Yeah.
So he spent a lot of time with the Native Americans in the area, as well as the French and even the English around here. So so he really contributed to the early history of Schenectady.
And we memorialize him. They built the famous Van Curler Hotel here.
Yes, definitely.
That feeded a lot of dignitaries there over the years, and now, as people know that are familiar with our history, that the community college now was the Van Curler Hotel.
Yeah, definitely.
And I remember as a child going there and having a wonderful dinner in their ballroom. I was very young, and it was very impressive.
Yeah.
And every time I go to the college, for a dinner, I think about that. And they do a wonderful job.
Right, it's still a very impressive building.
It really is, and they've been expanding as well.
Yes.
But it goes way back, and he was married and he had children, I'm sure.
Yes, he was married to a woman named Antonia Slagboom. I might be butchering that name.
Oh my goodness, I never heard that name. Now, was she also from Holland?
Yes.
Slagboom.
Yes, I might be butchering that name. My Dutch isn't the best. So he married Antonia, who was actually the widow of Jonas Bronk, who shares the same name as the Bronx in New York City.
Oh, well, that's
interesting.
Yes,
yeah. So he married her in 1643.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe they had a few children. I'm not exactly positive about that.
Yeah.
So he founded Schenectady in 1661. So it was him and about 14 other settlers that came from Fort Orange.
Yeah.
And if you think about it, it was kind of a crazy thing to do. So you're getting yourself and 14 families to go to this area that's not developed at all.
Yeah. And why do you think they wanted to do that?
Well, so like I said, Van Curler had a good relationship with a lot of the ethnic groups in the area, including the French.
Yeah.
So at one point in his life, he attempted to rescue a Jesuit French priest who was captured by the Mohawk Native Americans. Unfortunately, he didn't have much luck saving him, but on the way back from trying to save him, he noticed the land that would become Schenectady. And he noticed it was a perfect spot right on the Mohawk River.
The place beyond the pines.
Yes.
Oh.
Right. It was a perfect spot right on the Mohawk River, so he thought it would be great for trade routes. And the land was fertile, so good for farming.
Mm-hmm.
And so he, a bit later on, he gathered some other settlers who were willing to go on this crazy journey with him.
Yeah.
And he he petitioned Peter Stuyvesant, who was the governor of New Netherlands.
Yes.
And that's how Schenectady came about.
That is great, because I hadn't really heard it from that perspective, and I'm sure our audience hadn't either. And for any of you who have just tuned in, you're watching the Janice Thompson Show. I'm the producer host of our theme show today, the Schenectady County Historical Society, and my wonderful guest here is Mike Maloney. He's a librarian and archivist over at the Historical Society at 32 Washington Avenue. So, well, that is really wonderful to hear about our history here in this area. And then there's also an important figure that founded Scotia.
Right, yes. So after Arndt Van Curler died, there was kind of a gap in the leadership of Schenectady. So that's where Alexander Lindsay Glenn steps in.
Yes.
Glenn had lived in the area for a while. He settled across from where the stockade would be in Scotia, pretty much where the Glenn Sanders Mansion is right now. That holds part of his name. So he had a house right by the river, and he settled there in the late 1650s. So that was about 3 years before Schenectady was officially founded. So he was living right in that house by the river. And when Arndt Van Curler came along and had this idea to found a new community there, Glenn hopped right on and became one of the first settlers of Schenectady. So
right in that spot where the Glenn Sanders Mansion is.
Pretty much, yeah.
Pretty much. And I had asked you about the significance of the Sanders name.
Right.
And you said it was the intermarriage of the two families.
Yes, it was. It was the Glenn and the Sanders family.
Yes.
It was, I believe, Alexander's probably third great-granddaughter, Deborah, married John Sanders, and that's how the mansion got the Glenn Sanders name.
Yeah, and then I know they have a Glen Avenue, probably named after.
Yeah, there's pretty much anything that has Glen in the name is named after the family.
We have a Van Curler Street, I believe, in Schenectady.
Oh. There's also the Van Curler School, too.
In the Van Curler School.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so their legacy lives on in these names.
They do.
And at the Historical Society.
Yeah. You have so many pictures that you've donated to the Rotterdam Mall, which is under new ownership now. It's called Viaport. It's a repurposed mall. For those that haven't been there, you want to make a trip over, because in June the aquarium will be added, and it's supposed to rival the one in Boston, and I guess there's one down in New York. Somebody told me Coney Island. I'm not sure, so I don't want to misspeak. But there's a lot of excitement going on, and the mall corridors are filled with pictures, and I didn't realize they had come from the Historical Society.
Right, yeah. I believe about 30 of them probably did. And we're thrilled to see Schenectady's history out there where other people can see it and can view it.
Yeah.
And having these pictures at a place like the Rotterdam Mall is it's a great boon for us.
It is. They had a few before, and I'm a mall walker, and I'm there, and then all of a sudden there was a whole lot more, and there are a lot of sports ones too.
Yes.
And I don't know if the Blue Jays team, is that one of them that's there, do you think?
I'm not sure about. I forget which ones they got from us. But I will definitely have to check that out. It's very interesting.
Yeah. Just really, really good for the community.
Yes.
Yeah. I was trying to think what else we were going to talk about today that...
We have some great events coming up.
Yeah.
So at the Historical Society, we have a lot of lectures and talks, but that season is kind of winding down, and we're moving into some of our larger outdoor events, which are over at the Maybe Farm Historic Site.
Yeah, the indoor events are usually you do in the fall and in the winter.
Yep, and spring, early spring.
Early spring.
And then we
yeah.
start doing the outdoor events in late spring, summer, and into fall.
Yeah.
So we have some really, really great events going on. I think we mentioned before, May 1st is our migration celebration.
Yeah, and what does that consist of exactly?
So there's going to be, it's going to focus on the migration, not just of animals, but of the people. There's going to be a postcard exhibit from the Wayne Tucker postcard collection, which I mentioned a few times. There's going to be nature walks through some of the trails at the Maybe Farm in that area. There's going to be live birds of prey.
Now, when you say migration, do you mean from what point to what point?
With people, generally from Schenectady to somewhere else.
Okay.
Or from pretty much anywhere
From
to anywhere.
Schenectady to wherever.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's an unusual approach, isn't it?
It's a new interesting thing that we're trying out. It's the first one this year. So there's going to be games, crafts for kids, pretty much fun for all ages.
Mm-hmm.
So we're really looking forward to that, and that's completely free for everyone.
And is that at the Maybe Farm?
Yep, that's at Maybe Farm.
Okay. And like May 1st is what day of the week is that?
Oh, that's Sunday, May 1st.
Like an all-day event?
Yes, it's going to be, I believe it's going to be 10 to 5, but just check out the website for specifics.
Yeah. And how are you marketing it?
That's through our website, through Facebook. The blog that I mentioned before, we're featuring some of the postcards that are going to be in the exhibit and leading up to it. So there's one of our volunteers was going through the postcard collection, and she found a few kind of oddball postcards of people who were making strange journeys from Schenectady to somewhere else. So we just posted the first blog post in this series. It was about two men who were trying to canoe from Schenectady to Oklahoma.
Okay.
So they made a postcard, which they were selling at various stops throughout the areas that they were going through.
Yeah.
So they planned to take the Erie Canal. Their plan was to take the Erie Canal to Lake Erie and then go up to the Great Lakes and then down the Mississippi River and then off a tributary to Oklahoma. They didn't exactly go that way. They ended up going down to I believe it was Pittsburgh to catch the Ohio River and then out that way to meet the Mississippi River. Our volunteer did some research and was able to find that they made it to Pittsburgh, but she couldn't find if they made it to Oklahoma or not. So
well, we hope they didn't perish on the journey.
We hope they made it. But just some of those kind of quirky, strange journeys that people made.
Yeah. But most of this migration is within the United States, or not necessarily?
Not necessarily. Like I said, we're focusing on not just people, but birds and animals too.
Yeah.
It's in conjunction with ECOS, which is the Environmental Clearinghouse of Schenectady. So they're helping us out, and also I believe the county is also. So it's just it's just focusing on the migration of birds, animals, people, all of that stuff.
Now, just out of curiosity, and it just came to mind, do most cities have an historical society?
I believe a lot of them do, yes.
And I just wondered how ours compared to, generally, are we, they do a rating on them?
I believe we're one of the larger ones
really?
in the area. Well, we are sort of unique. One of the things that made us unique was the acquisition of the Maybe Farm historic
Yes, and
site.
and I wanted you to bring that out.
Yeah.
That is a uniqueness.
Right. So that adding a second location and adding a more rural location allowed us to really expand our scope
Yeah.
and our events and activities.
Did you actually buy the property?
I believe that was it was donated to us by George. His name was George Franchier,
Okay.
and so that was in 1993. And then in 2011, we built the George E. Franchier Education Center. So that was so before that
on the site.
On the site, yes.
Okay.
So before that, it was only the Maybe House,
Yes.
the Dutch Barn, and a few other buildings.
Okay.
So we added the education center there as a space for exhibits, offices for staff.
Offices for staff at the Maybe Farm itself.
Yes. Yep.
And are they open every day too?
The Franchier Center is open all year long. They're open Tuesday through Saturday.
All year.
Yes.
Really?
Yes. In the winter, the farm is closed because it gets a little tough trudging through that snow to get there. But the education center is open, and they have exhibits there, both art and history-based exhibits. Right now is one called Local Eats, and it focuses on the food history of Schenectady County.
I would love that.
That's a very interesting one. Yes, and there's also a space downstairs for lectures and for concerts.
Oh wow!
And,
I didn't realize they had all that.
Yeah, it's a great space, and we do have a concert series called Howling at the Moon.
Oh.
And actually, it's probably too late for the program, but there's one tonight, and they have one every full moon of the month.
Oh, and they have it right on site there?
Right on site, yeah. In the winter, it's right inside the education center.
Okay.
But when it starts getting nice out, they have it in the Dutch barn that's on the premises.
Well, that's really nice to know. Now, how do people find out about that? Do they go on the Maybe Farm website?
No,
or
it's
through
actually
yours?
through the Schenectady Historical.org website. We
Okay.
advertise all of that stuff. They do have their own Facebook page, so you should like both the Maybe Farm Historic Site page and the Schenectady County Historical Society page.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's really wonderful. And any plans for taking on another purchase of land? Or?
Oh no, not at the moment. We are. I think we're all set right now with the two properties.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a lot of fun, and the Howlin' at the Moon concerts. You get to see the property in a different light by moonlight, and it's beautiful.
That's a great commercial for it.
It's right on the Mohawk River.
Yeah.
And it's just a beautiful property.
Yeah, it's right on the Mohawk River. You're really on the Mohawk River too.
Yeah.
I mean, I live on Washington Avenue, and I can see the river, a little bit of it out of my window.
Yeah, we actually just have a new we got a new logo also.
Uh-huh.
So and that kind of highlights how the river connects our sites.
Oh, okay. Now this logo is something that was designed by the staff.
Yeah, well, it was designed by a company for us, and and so the logo, I should have brought it with me, but you can see it on our website.
Yeah.
It has the buildings of the Historical Society. So it has 32 Washington, and it has the Maybe House, and also has the Franchier Center, and underneath it are the waves of the Mohawk River tying all those sites together. So it's really representative of how the river of the role the river played in our development.
Yes, it's such a crucial part of our history. And I know the doors are open on the walkabouts down in the stockade where anybody can come in. And I don't think people realize that they could just come in really any time.
Right. Yes, we do charge a fee of $5 for visitors. But if you are a Historical Society member, which is only $25 a year, then you get access to both the museum and the library and the Maybe Farm. And you also get free access to our lectures.
Okay, and so, but if someone just wanted to come in out of curiosity and wanted to look around, is there a fee for them to do that?
Yes, to look around the museum.
But to go in the...
for the Maybe Farm?
No, to walk in the back entrance there like I did to come to see you, is there a fee to do that?
Right, just to stop by, there isn't a fee. But if
That's what I meant.
Yeah. If you did want to look at the museum, we do charge.
Right, but if someone wanted to come in and maybe they wanted to go to the gift shop, for instance.
That's fine. Yeah.
Or they wanted to talk to you, or
right.
anyone.
Yeah, we're very open to that.
That's important.
Yes.
To be accessible like that. Yes. So. There's a lot going on, huh?
There sure is, yeah.
Are you excited about the future
yes.
of Schenectady here? And things are popping up all over,
yeah,
two hotels.
It's great to see the development of the area. I really like, I really like the direction that the city is going in, I think.
Yeah. So I was hoping we had a little more to talk about, but I think we covered mostly...
Well, we do have some more events to talk about. So, like I mentioned, the...
we do have more to talk about.
Yeah, just a bit
Never fear.
So, I did mention our next event, which is the Migration Celebration. But after that will be the Schenectady Celtic Heritage Day. And that's celebrating the Schenectady County's Irish heritage.
Yes, and now is there a lot in the archives there on the Irish?
As far as the Irish go, we don't have a ton, actually.
Well, you need to get some more.
Yeah.
There's probably somebody out there that could provide you after today's showing that may have a lot of Irish history that they could get to you.
Yeah, that would be great.
And there goes your expansion of the archives again.
Yeah. So at the Celtic Heritage Day, there's going to be live music, 2 stages of live music, Irish step dancing, sheep shearing, blacksmithing. I didn't mention this, but another thing that makes our historical society unique is that our maintenance man is also a blacksmith. So. So he
kill 2 birds with 1 stone.
Yeah. So we at the Maybe Farm Historic Site, we have a lot of school programs, and last year alone we educated 2,000 students. In the area, and
right out at the Maybe Farm.
Yeah, right out there.
And is that where the Irish event is going to take place too?
Yes.
And I know it'll be on screen, but what is the date of that?
That's going to be June 11th.
Oh, okay, and is that also a Sunday?
That is a Saturday, June 11th. Sorry about that.
Okay.
So yeah, that's going to be a lot of fun.
Is this a first for that?
That's the sixth Schenectady Celtic Heritage Day.
Oh, well, I have to try to remember that. I'll put it in my
and that's
planner.
That's going to be a lot of fun. Good music, good food.
Yeah.
Get to see sheep shearing, blacksmithing, woodworking.
Yeah.
So it's just going to be a good time. And then after that, as part of the New York State Path Through History program, we're going to have our Stockade scavenger hunt. So that's going to be right in the Stockade neighborhood. And we're putting together a little scavenger hunt for people to walk around or drive around the neighborhood and find out some more about the historical landmarks of Schenectady Stockade neighborhood, which was the original settlement of Schenectady.
So they're going to drive around in a horse and buggy?
Oh, they can walk around or drive around to find these sites. I encourage everyone to walk around just because it's a beautiful area.
So are there some sites that are designated right now?
Yes.
That people can explore?
Not right now. It's going to be on Saturday, June 18th is going to be the scavenger hunt.
Right. But will they know where to go?
Yes, they'll stop into the Historical Society first. They'll grab the instructions.
Okay.
And then they'll go on their way and try and find all of these sites.
And that's free?
That's going to be free, yes.
Wow. Well, people like to know about the free events.
Yes. Yeah, so that one should be great. There's a ton of history in the Stockade.
There is.
And I think it's a fun way to learn about these different buildings and people that lived in the area.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Well, we'll have plenty of time that this will go on air, and we'll have plenty of time to get it on Channel 16. And
Right.
people say that I have Time Warner,
Mm-hmm.
Channel 16, but people say that they have FiOS and they can watch it on Channel 38 as well.
Right.
But I myself only know that from what I'm told.
Yes.
But of course they can see it on the internet anytime on SEC.TV, but there'll be plenty of time for it to be on television,
Right.
where people that watch their television can plan for these events
Yes.
coming up.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's probably too far out regarding your fall lecture series when you're starting.
Yes.
But you always
We
do
will have
something
information on that soon.
for Black History Month, I know, because I really enjoyed the Black History series that you had a couple of years ago, and I don't know if they have it every year.
Right.
But
Yeah, we definitely try and incorporate the history of all ethnic groups of Schenectady into our programming, for sure.
yes. So is there anything else coming up?
Yes, there is.
Oh, there is. Well,
So Saturday,
never fear.
Saturday, June 25th is going to be and Sunday, June 26th is going to be our Revolutionary Living History Day weekend. I did not say that right. Our Revolutionary Living History Weekend. So that's going to be 2 days of I guess living history. So we're going to have reenactors from Albany 2nd Regiment. And we're putting kind of a fun twist, interesting twist on this one. So like I said, we have our Vote Here, Vote Now exhibit going on. So we're trying to talk about like the political leanings of the revolution and
with what the Tories' influence and the Whigs
so
still and all that.
What we're going to try and highlight is people who visit will be able to decide whether they would have been part of the Crown, a loyalist,
Yes.
or a patriot.
Right.
So they'll be able to make that decision for themselves through the talks and
that's
everything that's
exciting.
going on. Yeah, so it should be a very interesting twist.
So which one leans to Democrat and which one leans Republican? Do you know? I mean, for our audience?
That I'm not too sure of. I don't think that really applied back then.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't think that really applied too much back then.
Yeah.
But they will be, exploring some of the political, so how politics kind of influenced the revolution and what happened afterwards.
That's so important, especially this time of year, because our elections will be in November, and it's been quite an amazing, iconic year, hasn't
definitely.
it?
Yes.
For politics.
Yeah.
What is the date of that again?
So that is Saturday, June 25th, and Sunday, June 26th. So it's going to be a 2-day event.
And of course, you'll put all of these in our Daily Gazette.
Yes,
they should be there. You're a nonprofit.
Yeah, that's another way.
You can also take advantage of the community notes,
Right,
because we advertise our Schenectady Access Cable Council meetings. I get them over to the community notes, and it's a free service for
we do try
nonprofits.
to do that, yeah.
Yeah.
As well as some of the other calendars, events calendars in the area. Yes.
Yeah. Now, anything else?
I think that's all I got.
Oh, well, just in time. Well,
Yes.
we were able to fill up an hour here, and that was what I thought we could do today.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm really excited, and I'm looking forward to you or your comrades doing some other shows to educate the community and bring awareness, because you're such an important part of our community, and sometimes it seems like you're silent, and we don't want that to be apparent. We want people to see that how vital you are for our community. Definitely. And what a difference you make for us, and contribute to a wealth of information and history here. So I thank you, Mike, for coming on today. And
it's been a pleasure.
You've been wonderful, and
I've
learned so much, and I do learn so much from our guests.
Yeah.
And I hope the audience learned a lot today as well. And thank you for tuning in. You are watching the Janice Thompson Show. and I've been doing this since 1999. Thank you for your support, and we'll see you next time.